Just gonna play some music. That's enough. That's enough. I always play reggae because I think reggae is fun. So welcome to the podcast. This is the Captain Jamtastic podcast. We're doing an episode of the 10 and with my good friend Bamboozler. Bam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we got a lot to cover and we have a little time because we're in a little bit of a time crunch and that's on me. So I apologize in
It's all
advance.
good. I can always run a little over too.
Yeah, we could run a little over and we could do a part 2 if we wanted to. So I'm going to jump in. I didn't give you the questions to read. I'm sorry.
So, that's okay. We'll wing it, dude.
We're going to wing it. So hopefully there's nothing too offensive or anything like that.
I'm already offended.
This is a bad start.
Let's do it.
So how do you like doing the power rankings? You kind of taken that over.
It's pretty fun. It's a lot of work. It's
yes,
a lot more work than it looks like for sure. Trying to figure out something to write about every single team is actually just quite time consuming. So it's been cool, but it's definitely it's getting old now.
I think that's about how I felt at this point in the season. And then also because when I was doing them for minors too, like you get a lot of, I don't know if you get them, but you get the PMs being like, how, or even worse, like when they put in the post, like, I can't believe we're ranked this low, and I'm like, oh geez, it's power rankings. It's an opinion.
I haven't
like.
Yeah, no kidding. I haven't gotten like any angry letters or anything, or any DMs really. I think
you're more respected in the community.
I just think nobody cares what I have to say. Honestly,
no. So I have a graphic up. It kind of shows your power rankings, and I've kind of kept them without writing the blurbs because, like you said, that takes too much time. And you can't see the graphics, so actually, I think I can link you real quick if you.
Either that, or I can always pull up my stuff.
Okay, yeah. If you pull up yours, I'll just go side by side and we'll discuss it. So we have the same three teams in the same order: Blockwork, Rank Thugs, Holden Gate. You went with K-Poppers. They're way lower for me. I have Sentra at 4. So we both have you at 5, and then I have. So we kind of flip flop K-Poppers and Sentra. You have Sentra at 6,
okay.
And then the rest of the way, we're pretty much set. Except I have Smoothie Pings at 9, and Chennai at 10, and then RHCP and Ball or Nothing. I was gonna say let's talk about it a little bit, but I feel like it would take kind of a long time.
No, we can talk about it. I don't care.
I just thought it was like pretty interesting, like from your perspective, because obviously I haven't been playing, so it's more like not objective, so to speak, but it's a different outtake on it, I think, because you're going toe to toe with these guys.
Yeah, so I think with K-Poppers having them up there, I think they've played some pretty good teams. They've taken some points off of really good teams, and I think their offense is actually just really strong.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And their defense is obviously where they're lacking right now. But I don't know. I'm not really sold on Horse. I think he's a solid player, but I'm not sold on him completely. And I know I have my own team rated above COA, even though they swept us in week 1. But that was week 1 where everybody switched positions and we didn't have pro tag and all that stuff. So
that's a good transition.
It's been a crazy season with transactions and stuff. So all the power rankings, like the beginning, totally throw all of those out. So whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons I did it last season, and I'm glad to see you doing it this season. Is they change every week because there's so much player movement. It's like there's almost too much player movement, in my opinion, for majors and minors. It's just like madness at times.
Curry on your podcast said it. It's a short season. You know, you gotta make moves when things are going wrong. So teams are doing that. You'd see Waterwheel just drop C-Bivy, and C-Bivy is by no means a bad player. It just Waterwheel needs a change because there's something not working. They're not going to make the playoffs at the current rate, so they just got to make something happen. So
well, and they have a pretty good schedule. Who did he pick up in favor of C-Bivy?
You got Refined.
Oh, okay. So Refined getting another shot at majors. You like to see that?
Yeah, which is good. And, they always have intercept that can swap the defense, too. If things are really going crazy, they could always move positionally and see what happens. So I don't know what their offense would be in that situation. But,
Yeah. So last season, when you I forget the name of the team you were on off the top of my head in season 20.
He Hate Re.
He Hate Re. Great name. Yeah, so I was kind of frustrated because I felt like you were one move away for something to happen, and that move came a little too late. On the flip side of that,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say on the flip side of that, you made a move early this season, and I honestly think it's one of the best trades, and it's worked out actually pretty well for both teams, I'd say, which is, in my opinion, the best possible situation for Tag Bro.
Yeah, I'd say so too. I know last season, it really came down. I think after like week 1 or 2, I was talking to our branch about whether or not to get rid of Boogie, and
Yeah,
not that he's a bad player, just it wasn't working. And Arm was really dead set on us getting to like working together on defense and getting that chemistry, and we just never really got there. And so we were always talking to GG and like, hey man, who do you want to try somebody else? And he's like, no, I want to stick with Boogie. No, I want to stick with Boogie. And we're like, yeah, okay, we respect that. Like, so it was really kind of GG's decision on his offensive partner until it got so late in the season that we just needed to make some kind of change. But
right.
it was just like you said, it was too little, too late. So,
Yeah, and
oh
and
well.
that was a tough season too, because like
Yeah,
the parity this season is much better. Like last season, it felt like
yeah,
everybody. It was weird going into last week. I was like, I don't think there's that many teams that could only have 3 wins. Like, what's happening?
yeah.
So,
Yeah, this season is really there's two really good teams.
mhm.
There's like one pretty bad team, and then a lot of middle teams.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
honestly,
and
like
that
if
that
there was,
bad team should have been good, but they just kind of imploded, which is kind of like half of what predictions said. So
yeah, I was gonna say if they extended the season like 2 or 3 more weeks, I don't think they're that bad. I feel like they could make a push because their
yeah, I think so
schedule's been
too.
brutal.
DT's yeah, their schedule was really tough to start off with, and that just kind of I think that threw them out pretty early. I think Ishii kind of lost interest
Yeah,
in uh, in trying once
no,
they were kind of like 0-4 or whatever, 1-3, however
yeah,
it was. It was just tough schedule to start off with and kind of discouraged all of them.
yeah, and it was kind of surprising to see both Ishii and Cynical. Like when you saw that defense, it looked to be intimidating, and then
I
they're both
when
cut.
we played them week 3, I thought for sure that was going to be the toughest week of the season, but then and then Glob couldn't make it until late, and so it was just like me and Selfie, and for some reason I don't know what was going on, but Ishii was just he couldn't tag anybody, and Cynical couldn't prevent. It was the weirdest thing. I could not understand it because usually when I've
Yeah,
played those guys in the past, they've been very good, and I would expect them to be really good together. So
you put in the codes so their ping was higher. I know it.
my ping is equal to theirs, man. All the way from Washington all the way to Dallas, man. It's over 60 all the time. So
Oh, okay. I didn't know where you were playing out
uh,
of. So you're out of Washington too.
Seattle, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yep.
Um.
Yeah, that's why we got the Region Wars team with me, Bright, Grumpy, and CC, and we just
That's a great team.
undefeated.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
it was
that
so much
team.
fun.
Yeah, I would like to see a full season of that team. To be frank.
Dude, oh man, if we could have done that, we would probably win Vegas. That was so much fun. The Seattle team. Oh man.
Yeah. So 877 in your rankings, which I love, by the way, are consistently higher. Like I had them lower for most of the weeks, and now we're even. But I got to say, like when you're playing, I love that because, like, first of all, it's like we have the same record. Like, what are you gonna do? Rank yourself 4 lower than everyone else? Like
Yeah,
the only
yeah,
reason to do that is to just try to make everyone sleep on you, and then you just pummel them. So
yeah. You got to have confidence. I ranked my team first at the very beginning of the season. I wasn't. I know we're not the number one team of the season or the in the league. I kind of knew that going in, but you got to have optimism and confidence to be good in this league.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I like to put expectations on us to push us forward. It's been okay.
honestly, I really like your squad. I feel like you're one of those teams that when it comes to the playoffs, all the top seeds, if you don't finish top four, are going to look at you and say, I really don't want to play against them.
Oh yeah, they don't
Just
want to play against that combined 20 ping defense, dude.
there you have it.
There's a reason. There's a reason I drafted those guys, man.
20 paying for both. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
Ginny and Sport could together is like 25 or some
oh,
crazy
that's
low
crazy.
number. Like they're both in Dallas or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So for this season, and sorry to be rapid firing the questions, but again, I know
no, you're
we're
good.
limited on time. Who do you have for All Stars?
Ooh, All Stars.
Yeah.
Let me see. Well, I think on offense, what you get? What, three? Is that what
Hmm.
you get? 3 or 4? I can't remember. I think 3. Um, Probably offensively, bottom line has to be in there.
Yep.
It's hard. I want to put bottom line and Ballerina both in there, but if you only get 3 players, it's kind of hard to take both of them off the same team.
Well, yeah, but
Which
they're
kind of
also 1, 2 in caps, and then Ballerina is super high in
yeah,
hold. So,
yeah.
um,
And I got a shout out for Protag. I mean, he's
Yep.
capping a ton, he's holding a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I'd probably say bottom line Protag. I'm taking 4 Ballerina, and then oh no, who was it?
Thinking GG.
What am I doing? I wasn't gonna pick GG because his team isn't doing as well, but
Yeah, that's a big thing for me, as most people should know by now. Megatron, maybe.
yeah, I think Megatron actually is
Yeah.
having a fantastic season. Everybody, I mean, he was a guy that got 160 tag coins. Nobody thought he was gonna be, a number 1 offender on a team. I think he's
I would
actually
even
taking over.
like.
I'd say Cheetos is supporting him right now for
Yeah,
sure.
sleeper pick. I would pick Goober. Doing a lot because Cher's numbers are insane, and like a lot of people have mentioned,
Yeah,
he's playing on that super high ping. So like
yeah,
Goober's numbers
yeah. I
aren't like
think
terrible. They're pretty decent. He's right in the middle of the pack.
yeah.
If he has one good week, he'll be toward the top. So
Yep. I think Goober's doing pretty much all the dirty work on that team, and Cher is just racking up all
yeah,
the stats. So
yeah. And I've been like a big proponent of that, talking about that even with Bright and others. I think because I primarily play support, and I think that needs to go a bit more recognized. So shouting out to Goober for sure. He's having a great season. How about defense?
Obviously you gotta have Max on there.
Hmm.
He's just far and away the best defender in this league right now. So
I guess. I mean, whatever.
I gotta shout out. I mean, yeah, screwed Max.
Yeah, he's the
He's way
worst.
too good.
He's the worst.
Yeah, he should have only got 100 tag coins. We really screwed that one up as captains.
If his name was USA instead of Mex, I'd like him a lot more.
Wow, jeez, as bad as BDL.
No, no, this is gonna be bad, guys. I have a Hispanic last name, so you can't call me racist.
That's better at least. So yeah, Mex, I think Ginny should be in there. I think by the end of the season he's gonna be top 5 in both. He's already top 5 for vent and he's 6th in returns. I think he has to be in there as well. And then
Yeah,
actually it's surprising me. Arm Branch has got a ton of returns, but he's not preventing well, so I don't know about that one, but maybe it's hard not to put Frothy in there with the season he's having, but again, it's kind of like that BDL Ballerina thing. It's like I don't
right.
really want to put 2 on the same team and all that stuff. So
I would pick.
maybe Ty
I was gonna say Ty is kind of my sleeper pick for All Star.
or even Grumpy. Grumpy's been he's
Yeah,
lower on returns, but he's actually an animal. So.
and then for me also, I mean, he missed a little bit of time, but Wayne's always underrated,
Yeah,
and
Wynn.
I always think he
Yeah, Wynn
deserves
is
to be in
always
that conversation.
underrated, actually.
Speaking
Yeah.
of underrated, do you feel that you're underrated as a player within the majors community?
Um, I think I'm actually pretty properly rated these days. I think I was underrated for a long time,
Oh,
but
okay.
then I had a season with Warriors, then a season with Not Prey, and I actually got quite a bit better. And I think most people value me
So you think
pretty
that
well.
it went one of those things where everyone kept saying you were underrated so much that you became properly rated?
Yeah, probably something like that. I mean, if you look at it, I've played my entire season on offense. I'm not even on the caps leaderboard. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
7th in hold, but I don't have that many caps. I'm not a capper apparently. I don't know. I can hold, but I can't cap. So
Well, you're a holder. You're a bamboozler. Everyone knows
yeah, I
this.
guess. Yeah,
uh,
it's been weird, but yeah, I think I'm pretty properly rated, honestly.
yeah. So I like this question. I was looking forward to asking you it. Do you think the current playoff structure is the best compared to, say, NLTP structure?
You know, I think there was a discussion about that recently somewhere in some Discord, and while the NLTP structure is much more exciting
Hmm.
in NLTP, I think somebody brought up a good point that would be less exciting in majors because a 2 or 3 cap league just becomes a bus park, and the players are there's so much more skilled at decision making correctly that they're going to be able to shut those things down. So
Yeah, that's true.
I think that was kind of a good point. I think playoffs could use a revamp, but I don't know if the best of 7 NLTP style is the right way. I mean, you can always try it and see what happens. Maybe it's more exciting, maybe it's more fun. But
Oh, there's more. It's definitely more fun to watch at the NLTP level, but also I have issues with it on the other side because it's like, well, that's not how the regular season is played. So
yeah, exactly. There's always that argument.
it has to follow the same structure to me. It
Two
is
5 minute
entertaining though.
halves,
Yeah.
2 5 minute halves, 7
Hmm.
games.
You get it. You get it.
No, didn't tell me that.
Bam for
I
commish.
mean,
You heard it here
uh,
first.
been there, done that, never going back.
Oh. Who are the best
Yeah,
5 teams this season, records aside?
that's
Like,
five
yeah,
teams.
like who do you think are the best 5?
Top five teams: Blockwork, Rank Thugs, COA, Holden Gate, and I think I'm gonna put us in that last
Yeah, made sense. Yeah, I mean, I guess that was kind of a stupid question because we looked at the power rankings and that's where they are.
one.
so,
I picked
so,
Sentra retention over Katie Poppers, so
yeah,
I
I think
I
Sentra
think
is like a monster, and everyone is saying, "Oh, come playoffs, it'll be different because of that high paying for Shara." But like, I think
sure
they're
it's
a
still really
sleeping
good.
monster. Yeah, that's the
Share
thing.
Share just has like a bigger brain than everybody else, so he just makes plays that you don't expect. Like there was this one bomb snipe first week on haste where I baited somebody to miss the boost past me, and then I boosted straight up towards base, but he hit this perfect timed snipe with a
Dang.
bomb,
Yeah.
just killed me, and I was like, man, that was gonna be my only cap this week. So I got shut out that first week. So
well,
yeah, Share just makes those big brain plays.
I played a game of Connect Four against Shara, and I beat the crap out of him. So I think I have the bigger brain. So just gonna throw that out
Oof.
there. It's also
Connect Four is kind of similar, right?
wildly untrue. None of that happened. I was just just starting rumors. Just trying to put myself over. You know me.
You should play Tantry in chess instead and see how that goes.
I can't wait. I have an interview with Tantra at some point, and
Dude, play chess on your
that,
podcast.
that's all we do is just play chess on the podcast.
Do it. Do it. It'll be funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be into that. So if we look at the playoff race right now, the bottom 4 there, they're all still alive though. Every one of those bottom 4 teams, Shania, Smoothie.
Every single team has a way into the playoffs, and
Mhm.
as I posted with my playoff picture
Yeah.
spread,
So
which
what?
took a lot of time as well, by the way.
Oh
Oh my
yeah, yeah. That
god.
takes a bit. What do you? And I just copied yours and then added colors, so I have a graphic up that you'll see later. So it
Nice.
looks real fancy, even though you did all the
Cool.
work. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're
So
welcome.
you heard it here first. Vote for Bam for behind the scenes this year. He's actually doing most of the work, even if I'm drifting it and doing
Perfect.
podcasts.
Bam and Jam 1 and 2 right there.
I'll take it. Yeah, number 2. Nothing wrong with that. So who do you think potentially has the highest potential to fall out of the playoffs right now?
Fallout that's in.
Yeah, like Rectiles, Boats and
Um,
Holds.
I think the highest probability is Rectiles, just because they lost Doris.
Yep.
I know we split them without Doris. Trippy actually played really well. I don't know. I don't see that team. I don't, it's hard to say because of their is ranked thugs in week 7 and Chennai this week. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they don't have an easy schedule. Ranked thugs is obviously a top 2 team, and Chennai is making moves, trying to get better. So I mean I think they needed to sweep Chennai this week if they want to have a chance, because I think ranked thugs are probably going to sweep them.
I think if they sweep, I think they would be in, to be honest with you. The most shocking team to me on this list so far has been Smoothie Ping. I thought they would be a bit better. I think they would at a minimum I thought they would be in that 5 and 5 category, but they've
Yeah,
really just struggled.
yeah, they GG and Sunchips is a very good offense, but just hasn't been enough to carry over Pandora and Sevens. I don't know what happened with them, but Panda hasn't been as good as advertised, and Sevens wasn't the right partner. So I mean, they made a change to Fly. We'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
they the good thing about I think they are one of the bottom 4 teams that has like the best chance. I think they have the best chance to make it with K-Poppers and Ball or Nothing as their schedule. I think they could possibly match up really well with K-Poppers with um, with their defense, and just kind of overrunning that and trying to take over that game, and then Ball or Nothing, if they can sweep them, they have a really good shot at getting in.
Sure. So we're over right now, so I'll give you one more question, and then we'll wrap up. Maybe do a part 2 or something before the playoffs, because I
Well,
think you guys are going to be in.
I told my team I'd be late, so we can go for a few more minutes if you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's restructure. So okay, this is a fun one. I thought just because you've been covering it a lot, um, and when I was doing all the power rankings and whatnot, at least I started looking at statistics very heavily, and I thought it would be more fun to have expanded rosters so you could kind of see with those plus minuses like how teams are playing together, because it would be more like, oh, when this lineup's on, they're very, very good. And I also think, you avoid rescheduling, and then there might be a specific matchup where somebody plays better. What are your thoughts on an idea like that?
Would you have to? It would be interesting. I think most teams probably wouldn't give those lower players a shot, though. They would want to have their their top four in
Yeah,
and everything. So I think actually the minors' rights thing that we did this season is actually a pretty good middle ground for that, because you get to have the exclusive rights to a couple people if you want them, and you gotta kind of sub people in as you need, and it's yeah, like I got Selfie in week 3, even though Glob did show up late, like game 1, half 2. I just rolled with Selfie because we were winning, so it's like I think that was actually a pretty good middle ground for that.
yeah, yeah. I'd agree with that. Um, let's see. So this is kind of a no-brainer just because of the records, but like in comparison to last season, at least. But in general, do you think there's way more parity this season as opposed to most other seasons?
Um, it's hard to compare all the seasons, but I'd say I'd say it's pretty typical actually to have like one really kind of over and above team plus a bunch of middle teams and then a bad team. Like I think this might be one of the better parody seasons in recent memory, but I think there's definitely been seasons like this before that have had really good parody. I think since we moved to all Dallas, it's made it so that those Centra super teams can't form, which is a really good thing, even though I was a part of a couple of those. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, all right. Makes sense. Makes sense. So your squad this year, you got you and Protag on O, and then Ginny Spork on D. I feel like this is the team most people are sleeping on. I feel like nobody's really mentioned you, at least in the podcast, of being like scared of you. And I think for you guys, well, I'm kind of blowing up the spot now, but I think you're just flying under the radar. I think you guys, at a minimum, like your worst case scenario is a 3-game out, in my opinion, against whoever you play, whichever round. Um, I think you're definitely going to lift one game no matter who you play, and you're probably going to shock a lot of teams in this postseason, in my opinion. That's not really a question, I guess. It's more of a statement.
Well, I can still respond. Yeah, I think we're pretty underrated going into the season just because we had a bunch of position switches. Offense is obviously my weaker position, and Jenny is switching, and Spurek is a better offender than defender typically,
Yeah.
and Jules is yelling at me in the background.
How is Jules? I love Jules. She's great.
She's good.
Nice.
She's good. You want to say hi?
Shut. Hey. How are you, Jules?
She says she's great.
Oh, excellent. That's what we like to hear.
Anyways, yeah, we've had a pretty. I'd say our strength of schedule is actually one of the easiest. If you look at the RPI spreadsheet that I put out, it's got our opponents' win percent down under 40%. So I think we've had one of the easier schedules.
Yes.
So we still don't get really the respect, I think, which is fine because we haven't played those great teams. But I think
Well,
that ends this week with Holden Gate, and then we got ABO in week
ABO.
7. So
So it's a tough
that's
schedule.
big
Like
test.
when you look at it, like Smoothie Ping Ball or nothing, you're like, oh, those teams are both bottom 4. But then you did play Center of Attention. Boats and Holds are a good team. Like I feel like they're inconsistent, but they're a good team, and you guys really,
Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
yeah. And then Rectiles, you got, I don't want to say lucky, but like
We got lucky.
you got luckier just because Doris. That was the week that Doris stepped down for the season,
Yep.
so you got to
Yeah, we
avoid the
definitely.
Doris experience.
Yeah, and Doris always destroys me on Dallas, so I'm so happy with that.
So I guess the real question is, how much did you pay Doris to hang it up for the year?
12.
But you do have Holden Gate, who is like they are just world beaters right now. What's the strategy going into that matchup?
I'd say the strategy for them is really just it's no different. I trying to like steal from the Seahawks and Pete Carroll with just like playing our game, and
Yeah,
if we just play the right way, we're unbeatable kind of thing. But obviously, we're not very consistent at doing that. So I think with Holden Gate, it's really just going to be about trying to control the pace of play and get pups, and
yeah,
we'll
that's the big one
probably
because
come out with a split.
yeah, we talked. We being me, myself, and Curry, pronouns are important. Um, we talked about Easy, and he is leading the league since he's arrived. He's averaging like 18.25, I want to say percent, which is a full percentage point higher than anybody else in the league in pups. Is there any type of strategy like or, oh, let's if Easy's going for it, we should double up on the pup, or is it more of a situational thing?
Well, it's definitely situational. I think every single aspect of tag grow is situational. There's always the right thing and wrong thing to do in a current situation, and I
Sure.
think with pups, it's going to be as a defender. I think the main thing is always keeping that fly game. So easy will be fighting against our defenders most of the time. I think on Jardim and Merled. So
Yeah.
I think if he's going for pups, I think Ginny's going to try and body him off with a low ping and let Spear trying to keep the flag in, or vice versa. And if they both go for pups, then both my defenders will go for pups, that kind of thing. I mean, I think that's just pretty typical
Yeah.
tag pro play at this point. But we really just don't want to give up free outs. So if they they want to rolling bomb, fine. They want to do just okay. They want to tag pro, that's bad. But we just don't want to give up free outs. So we'll see.
Yeah. And then the big matchup week 7 against the ABO. I talked about it with Mex though. We looked at their schedule and with Curry as well. Their schedule isn't as strong as people would think.
Holden Gates.
No, not Holden Gates. Sorry about that. This would be
ABOs.
ABOs. They really
Yeah, gotcha.
haven't played anybody. They've only played, I think, COA week 2, and then everyone else is literally the bottom 4 teams in the league. So this week is kind of important, and you know, the following week obviously very important for both teams, especially if depending on how things shake out. But is there any not fear necessarily, but like where do you rank ABO mentally going into that game?
I still think they're the best team in the league, regardless of what their schedule's been like. I mean, they're
Yeah.
I've actually got a technical leagues up right now. Caps 4, they have almost 100, which is 26 more than the next closest team. So regardless of strength of schedule, they're still putting teams away, and
Right.
they're
It's
second in caps against. So they're a really good team. We've scrimmed them a few times a couple weeks ago, and we were hanging with them, beating them, losing to them. So they were all pretty good games in the scrims. So I know scrims don't mean anything, but I'm not scared of them. I'm just they're good, so you got to bring your game up a little bit too.
Yeah, and I think again, I think you guys just match up with every single team pretty well, and you can present kind of a lot of styles. Something
Yeah,
I talked about with Max was more of a positionless game, which I feel like you guys are very. You have 4 two-way players. I don't know Protag all that well, but
Pro Tank sucks.
okay, yeah. Well, there you have it.
I had to get that in there. I tell him he sucks every time we play together. But I'd say Protag is probably the only non-two-way ball. He's not a great defender. He
Yeah,
doesn't have any defense experience in the league, whereas Pure has experience on both sides. Ginny, this might be his first season on defense, but now he has experience on both sides. He's an elite level offender, and I've played a lot of defense, and was
yeah,
a I was a minor league MVP at offense that never really translated to here, but I can still do enough. So I
yeah.
feel
I
like we
feel
have
like
3 really good two-way balls and then one like just really good offender. So
no,
yeah,
offenser's correct. I just feel like that's more to your benefit. I feel like that could be a
yeah,
strategy you guys
exactly.
utilize, especially if you find yourselves down in a playoff game or something. You're like, all right, like anytime if I'm you, Bamboozler, if I, pop, somebody else just immediately go, oh, the only time we don't do that is like when Protag does it. So you kind of keep that pressure on the defense, especially if they're trying those 3D strats.
The tough thing on us is that both Spurk and Ginny are both de-restricted, so they can't just be hopping O all the time. That's just kind of against the rules. So they get plenty of time on offense. They get plenty of grabs, plenty of hold, and
Yeah.
hell, they have almost as many caps as me. So they're both capping almost as much as me, which comes from of a lot of me playing defense and having good blocks and good anti and stuff like that. So it just kind of works out that way. And we played a lot of close games. So I think
Yeah.
all of our losses have been pretty close. We had a couple of blowout wins, which is why our plus minus is pretty decent. But I think one strength of our team is that two way stuff, and that keeps us in a lot of games.
Yeah. So let's make that the last question then. In regards to the two-way stuff, would you like to see? Because I've always felt like it's kind of silly to restrict people in one aspect, because then you have, if somebody's playing O too much or whatever, you're like, oh, we should look into this, which I think is kind of silly because that's just there's no such thing as that in like a pub or how the game was originally invented.
Right.
I feel like everybody should be considered a two-way ball. Um, but
Yeah. So there's arguments both ways. There's that argument for not doing restrictions. There's also the argument for if you don't have restrictions, people can't ever switch their position because they're always going to be drafted for what they're better at. Like Ginny would never get the chance to play defense in Major League Tag Pro because he is an elite offender, and nobody thought he was that great at defense until the season, which he's doing pretty well. So it's kind of double sided. It also allows you to squash any draft minute. People saying, "Hey, I want to play offense only," even though they're a defender and stuff like that. And some
Yeah.
captains will say, "Okay, well, I'll only draft you for offense, so I'll draft you for 5." But everybody else is like, "Oh, I'm still going to draft you for defense and force you to play it for 80." So it's kind of a big deal on that. So
Yeah.
I like the restrictions at the end of the day. And if you really don't want to be restricted, just sign up as both.
Yeah, that's true. And would you be open to kind of like the Thursday night league that happens where you can kind of sign up with whatever team you want? Would that be something people would be into, do you think?
I'm sure they would, but I don't think. I I think it's kind of tough because you're just gonna have a few super teams that sign up. You're gonna have Brighton as goons, kind of thing going on. So, not that that's bad, but at the same time, uh, it's kind of tough to. Personally, I don't think I would be playing at the major league level in that case because I think a lot of older, really good players would come back in that kind of style, and for me, that kind of sucks. I like playing majors, so I want to stick to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, all right. Well, I've kept you way too long, so thank you so much for staying on, and thank you for being a part of the pod. Bam.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Bye, Jules. You're the best.
She's fine. Sorry. I'll
Bam
tell her you
sucks.
said bye.
Bam sucks. I love you. Oh, sorry, Bam.
She'll agree with that. She'll agree with that. 100%.
But seriously, thanks for coming on, man. You're the best.
Yep. See you, dude.